We took this client from 0 to 8.2 million pounds in revenue in 8 months. And I'm going to break down exactly how we went about it. It is the most profitable campaign that we have run in our agency for a couple of reasons. One, how quickly we scaled them to that. Two, it was a performance deal for us. So we made a lot of money in the process, and they managed to do that with only spending, they spent just under 500K on ads. Now, I'm going to break down absolutely everything. I'm going to give you access to behind the scenes data that no one else has seen, and just go through the steps of how we actually scaled this campaign. We're going to go through the launch strategy. We're going to go through the rebrand and content engine that we plugged in. We are going to look at how they were able to scale so quickly. As always, DAP fashion, I'm just going to show you everything. Right, so let me get fancy. I've got my little Miro board going on now. Let's look at some of the basic top level numbers. I know I explained some of them quickly there, but let's just look at the top level numbers. So this was another prop trading company. So if you don't know, prop trading is a segment of the finance sector where they use traders' data. It's almost like a trading challenge. They get people to pay for a trading challenge. It allows them to leverage more funds. They, instead of getting paid out on £100 trading account that they might be just trying to squirrel away, they might pay that £100 for a challenge. If they pass the challenge, they might be able to trade a £10,000 account, which then they make more money, more leverage. That's how that model works. This is the third client I've worked with now. So we've got some experience in that space. The biggest one does multiple 10 figures every single year. So at that top level, 0 to 8.2 million, they spent 493K on ads. Our deal was that we was going to get between 1.5 to 3% rev share plus a retainer, but the retainer was just there to cover costs. The timeline that we worked with these guys was from Jan 24 to the end of August 24. The deal model was a retainer plus rev share, and the ICP was aspiring traders that are trying to turn trading into their full-time gig. Now, we was getting paid to build out their launch funnel and strategy, run paid traffic, implement content engines, so videos and graphics, and led a brand transformation, which we didn't start off doing, but we grew into that. And I'll tell you why we did that. One, it was friggin' awful. I'm going to show you. As you can see up here, this is a snapshot from their Hyros. They done 8.2 blah, blah, blah million in that course of time. I'll always show you the receipts, guys, if I'm talking about revenue. The point for you here is this was a full stack build. We didn't just run ads and drive traffic. It was about how could we take a new company in a saturated niche to market. So when they came to us, they'd launched their platform. They hadn't gone to market yet, and they had a graphic designer and a basic brand strategy website, which, if I'm honest, looked like absolute garbage, but we hadn't had the trust there to take it off of the person. So we had to launch with what we had. Now, from my experience, there was a couple of things that I knew about this ICP, right? ICP is your ideal customer profile. Because I had this experience with another company and we've done some crazy numbers for them. I knew that this person loved two things. One, they loved offers. These guys love cheap challenges. The cheaper they get the challenge, the more challenges they can buy, the more leverage they can potentially get, right? The problem is, though, people that offer too many crazy offers, they lose trust in the marketplace, because companies that have done that in the past, they go under, they blow up, right? So the goal was, how do we navigate these offers, but also build trust in the process? So what we focused on was a giveaway phase, okay? So the idea is they had no email base. We had to do a pre-launch of the prop with a wait list where we was going to give away $1 million in funding, but also 50% off as a backup offer to join our waitlist. People were signing up for that waitlist because 50% doesn't really happen that often. Now, because we had no credibility, there was no way to get people into our net without doing something crazy like that. So the goal was 2 weeks. We ran ads to a very basic landing page, which was join the waitlist. We're going to give away £1 million in funding and some other bonuses, right? We use ads mainly to drive signups, because at this point, they didn't trust us with their content and their branding. It was purely the ads, emails, and funnel that we had control of. So our main focus was shove this in as many traders' faces as we physically can, get as much reach as we physically can, and as many people into our net so that we can get people to buy through email. And as you can see, once we launched that offer, I've just taken a snapshot from their Hyros. Once we launched that offer over the 8-week period, so 2 weeks before launch, 6 weeks after, they generated 173K in revenue. Not bad for 8 weeks for a new business. This is the key part. They generated 373 sales, new sales. So that's new customers. And they spent 17K to make 173 back. So that's a ROAS of 10. But what's key is their cost per sale was £45. Now, what I didn't add in here is, I'll put it down here, is yes, they got 373 new sales, but total sales over that period of time was 2,291. So what that tells you as a business owner or a marketeer is that this customer repeat purchases, right? Not only do they buy once, they buy twice, 3 times, 4 times. And in this case, the average was 6 times they were repeat purchasing because the offer was so crazy. What that meant is that in a very short period of time, we were able to estimate the lifetime value as a minimum of £275. And lifetime value is crucial to scale, because if we're acquiring a customer at £45, right? We're getting that customer at £45, but they are spending on average £275 over their lifetime. We know that we can spend more aggressively and scale more aggressively. And that is exactly what we did over the launch phase. It didn't matter about how pretty the website was. It was ghastly. It didn't matter how pretty the social media was so much. That was ghastly. And I'll show you in a bit. What mattered was the offer in front of the right audience and nurturing that audience via emails. We will spend aggressive if the numbers are there. The numbers are there to spend more, even if the website doesn't look great, even if the socials are a car crash. But what you can do is you can iterate to success. And that's what we managed to do. Just to recap, the offer drop. So we dropped the no-brainer offer, which was 50% off. Trust me, that's a no-brainer in this market. Revenue, they generate 173K in the first 8 weeks, spent 17K on ads, ROAS of 10, 373 new sales at 45 quid each, and then 2,291 total sales, which basically mean we got the offer in front of enough people to get them to repurchase, to give us our baseline customers. Another thing about this section here is, you think about any business, right? Imagine going from 0 customers to going to 373 in 8 weeks. Can you imagine the pressure test on your systems, your support, your everything? And this was a small team. So this is some of the things that we figured out really quickly working with them, is that they were very scrappy, very ambitious, but they themselves were rebuilding and reinvesting into team as they were growing so quickly. Next, let's go to the rebrand, because this is the part that excites me the most. I've got to be open with you. So I'm just going to share some of the shit that they looked like before when we launched them, right? This is how we launched them. I could not stand this brand, by the way. It just looked ugly. It looked like an old SaaS. It just looked like any SaaS company. There was no trust. Look at some of these images. Like, honestly, you're using like AI computer generated images. There was no depth to the brand. It was literally like snore you later SaaS company. But they finally, after that first launch period, how we dealt with ourselves, finally said, like, guys, you got to get rid of your graphic designer. Let us take over your brand direction. Got on really well with the directors at the time. So it's like, listen, just let us manage it. This is the ugly waitlist page that we had to roll with. And this is what gave them their launch. And this is what I mean about starting scrappy. Like, start scrappy, man. Doesn't matter. Ugly progress is better than no progress. And that's something I always have to say to myself, is like, I want things to be looking great all the time. Brand is important, but start ugly and iterate quickly and improve quickly. So that's what we was working with. And then our team was like, let us put brand guidelines together on what we think the vision of the company should look like. So we put this together. So I'm going to fly through it very quickly, because already is like how minimal it is. So even like things like this, I know it's a little bit cheesy, but these traders are kids, a lot of them. So painting pictures in their mind of where they potentially could ascend to. Getting rid of that awful A. Oh, that fly is going to fucking haunt me. Get out. There's a fly in here, guys. My God. Oh, God. Oh, fuck's sake. Right, getting rid of that awful A. I don't know what it was. It was like that one. It was terrible. Getting rid of that awful A and making it more minimal. But let's just go through to But like little things like this, we're going to use imagery, use real imagery. Don't use like stock imagery, fake images, icons like everyone else in their space. Here's some of like the examples of graphics. Not all trade related, kids in front of a laptop. It's like trying to give it an aspirational feel. When we're talking about like offer graphics, keeping it very simple, good typography. So just making it more minimal and sophisticated, because a lot of companies in this space, they're so shouty, it's too much noise. And we just wanted to like make it look more professional. And that's something they always wanted to be, is more professional. So still keeping the color scheme in, but just not that horrible bogey green everywhere. So yeah, I think we've done a good job of that. And that's actually what sold them on the idea of going, right, let's roll this out. So what we did is we started building out different assets. So we built out obviously the offer ads and graphics that work well, but like more helpful graphics like economic calendars, engaging posts that gets them to think about how they trade, or aspirational quotes. We built out this new landing page. We actually didn't get to launch this, but this would have absolutely crushed compared to the other one. Just elevating that brand position. But when things really changed is when we started introducing video content. Because up until the first 3 months, we had literally barely any video. And then what we started to introduce was our content engine, where we'll take the traders one day and then we'll get ample amount of content. But we worked on some animated posts. So things that can like visually elevate the brand compared to everybody else. No one else is really doing these type of animated posts.
Is gold bullish or bearish? Gold is a safe haven influenced by market sentiment. Fundamentally, gold is bullish.
Then there was a few issues in the company. So they lost their MT5 license, which is like the main platform that everybody trades on, which is the most popular trading platform, right? So what happens in that scenario is all of their traders are stuck because no one can trade because they've lost their license. So now people think they're being getting scammed, right? Bless the owners of the company. It was out of their control and they did everything they could to keep it and get another one, and then they lost that. It was a nightmare. Basically, you have to migrate from MT5 to C-Trader, which is another trading platform. You can imagine when you've gone from 0 to thousands of customers and you have a problem like that, can you imagine the amount of support requests, tickets, questions? It was unbelievable. So we had the idea of having a round table. So 2 influencers that trade with Ascendex and the 2 owners sit down and have a round table podcast and have it out. And it got heated.
So we've invited 2 of our traders along to speak with us today, Zaki and Poku.
You know, we're here to speak, but we're also here to grill you. Yeah. We're here to find out more about what's going on behind the scenes.
I'm pissed off.
We're ready to be grilled.
On record, I want you to say this. Are you willing to liquidate some assets from your other businesses to pay out these traders and keep the longevity of Ascendex?
Of course.
You recently gave a 100k payout to one of your traders, but he has admitted that he had a gambling addiction. Why did you guys allow this individual into your portfolio?
We paid him because he didn't break any rules.
And what thing that was great about that podcast is that most prop owners, 1, don't get on camera, 2, do not face issues. And we was like, no, let's use it as an opportunity to elevate the brand and be transparent, which the guys have continued to do, in all fairness. And we create some really good video content about it. The other video that I absolutely love was this one here with Sim. Sim was one of their traders who got paid out 84k in one transaction. £84,000 or dollars, I think it was.
Myself and Alex are actually off now to go and present to one of our traders our biggest ever payout.
Let's go surprise him.
Let's go.
You know, Sim's local to us. He's only a stone's throw away. We might as well take that personal touch to the next level.
At one point, I was actually suicidal. To get my self-respect in my own family back, I had to make it into this industry. I knew it. If I can get £20,000, show it to my dad, look, I made money, this much from trading, I'd get my respect back.
So, Simran, let's get you paid now on your pound payout, which after our performance fee and then getting your refund comes to.
So what we did is we done a mini documentary, which no one had done in the prop space before. In my head, it was like, you know, Nike have their athletes, well, prop should have their traders. And we go and visit them, find out their backstory, how they trade, how they got into it. We interviewed his dad. We presented him a check. We then done a podcast, and then we done a transaction. I'm going to show you some of the video.
I lost money quite a lot of time. For my dad, he's illiterate, nothing, he has no education. He got out of India. He's been out there working physical manual labor, 60, 70 hours a week since you were 17. Spent about 10K before I made any money on ACG challenges, and I got a big payout from them after that. I got £36,000.
So, Simran, let's get you paid now. $84,532. Come here. Come here. Well done, my guy.
Cheers, mate.
Well done. That's incredible.
Well done, mate. Really pleased with you.
Thank you, bro.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
So you can see like it was completely different to what was going on their social media before. They had gone from boring SaaS stock AI images to founder focused, trader focused video and graphics. And the brand completely changed overnight with that. Even with the issues they were facing, they still managed to keep revenue really high. And still to this day, if you go and check out their social media, they've got a new name now. These two videos were the most popular videos on their channel. And this is like a micro lesson here. Your product isn't the thing that builds emotional connection. Your brand story is the thing that builds emotional connection and trust. And the best way to do that is through video. If you're in a high ticket space, they're making a skeptical decision whether they should buy your product or service or invest in you. Video is the best way to build that connection and relationship of trust with them. Let's look at some of the numbers. So as you can see, like I just took a snapshot of Instagram and YouTube where video come into play. So this part here is when we did not have control of their brand or content or video. So Jan to March, they done 27K in revenue. When we took over, they went from 27K to 515K. They generated thousands of leads. YouTube generated 17K just from 2 videos. That's the... What the f*** is that? What was that? So that's the power of rebranding and getting specific and hyper-focused on the content that you put in front of your audience, your ICP. So I want to talk to you for a minute about where it started to go wrong. I think I touched on it a little bit earlier, but when you scale at speed, you're going to come across some serious challenges, right? It's like serious challenges. And a lot of that stuff will be out of your control. You know, like the analogy of the swan that looks so graceful as it goes across the lake, but underneath it's pedaling like absolute nutters. That was not only their team, but that was us as well. So yeah, look, when you get into a performance deal, you're in the trenches with the client. That's the way I see it. I look at every penny we spend as yours. And it ended up where I was in London 2-3 times a week with them. I basically became their marketing department, which was fine. We was getting paid handsomely, but it wasn't really what I signed up for. So when you're getting into a performance deal, if you're thinking about it, 1, you have to be able to do the do, but 2, make sure you set up clear boundaries with the client so that you just don't make the mistake that I did, basically, which ultimately, it was exclusivity, which stopped me from progressing as much as I could have on my side. Lesson learned, no hard feelings. Everyone's made money and grown since, but that's one of the biggest things that I take away from it. The second thing is you can't control what they're doing in their business. So they might have generated 8.2 in revenue, but I don't know how much they paid back to their traders. You have no control over that operational side. So if you are getting into a relationship like this for performance, you need to make sure that the company has the systems, the personnel to deliver at scale, the scale you want, because you also don't want to be capped by their ability to run their own business. I'm not saying that was the case here, but there was things that was out of their hands, you know, like the MT5 going down. I reckon we could have gone to 20 million if we kept an MT5 license. But hey, I'm just sharing with you some of the thoughts and feelings that I have upon reflecting on this whole situation. Not only that, one of the biggest issues that we faced was Meta. So Meta hate Forex and they hate CFDs because there's so much scamming in this space. So you're constantly battling with ad restrictions, page being shut down, and it was an absolute nightmare, which actually led to us stop working together and then getting a marketing team internally. Again, no problem with that, but it is tough. So if you're going into this space, understand that you are going to need a very good meta rep and you are going to have to jump through hoops and hoops of restrictions and issues because it's hard graft. Hence why I lost my hair last year. Only joking. So let's break down these numbers. So total revenue was £8.2 million in revenue. They spent 494k on ads. Their blended ROAS was 16.7. Not a bad return on investment. If you 16 times your money back, take that all day long. We generated 46,000 leads over the 8-month period. They had 11,000 new customers. They had 21,000 recurring customers. The cost of a sale, we managed to maintain a £43 cost per sale, which is insane. And the cost per lead was £3. Some crazy numbers there. If you look at it by channel, Meta, they generated 858k. They got 5,000 leads. The ROAS was 2. Google, they spent 474k, 3,000 leads, ROAS of 3.6. They spent 132k. Now you might look at that and go, that's a bit low. And Meta, to be honest with you, Meta should be higher, a little bit higher than that. But also what you don't see is the journey that people take. So in this space, what they do is the people will see an ad, right? And then because of skepticism, because of the brand reputation, because of all of these things, they'll go, I'm not going to go through and buy. I'm going to go and I'm going to look at Instagram, or I'm going to go and I'm going to look at Trustpilot. And then from Instagram, I'm going to join your email list, or I'm going to join your Discord. Do you know what? That's a great offer. I'm going to buy. And they buy. And that's what typically was happening. So the more we was finding we were spending on Google or Meta, the more we were seeing Google organic jump up. So if you look at Google organic is 3.8 million. That's not because of SEO. They had zero SEO. It's because people were seeing ads, doing their research, following, and then coming back to Google to purchase. And that's why we had so much money coming from Google. Instagram, 557k, 10,000 leads. YouTube, 20k, 1,800 leads from free videos only. Twitter, 18k. Didn't get TikTok going at that time. Emails, that doesn't look right. 77k, that is definitely not right. Actually, I'm going to look now. Emails, total revenue. 700. This email should be 700 to 636. That's what it is. I'll share a little pop-up from my other screen. So they had affiliates that brought in over 350k, and then no data source, was just data that we couldn't track. We use Hyros to track this. So Hyros is a great software. I'll put a link in the bio. But if you want to track every penny that you're spending on your marketing and know where it's coming from, use Hyros. And the money we made, drum roll please. So I couldn't be bothered to go through all the invoices. I've got to be open with you and look at what was retained and what was rev share. But in total, over the 8 months, we billed 369,000. Why can't I say my numbers? £369,000. It's all right. I'll take it. In 8 months business from one client, I'll take it. Do you know what? It was a massive learning curve. It was a result that I was massively proud of, but you don't get paid on what you do. Like for me to even get those opportunities, if you think, cast your mind back, I don't know, before COVID, I was running ads for gyms, right? Someone's just paid me over 8 months, 369k, one client. This isn't the most I've earned from a client, but it's the most I've earned in a short period of time. It's the amount of trust you can build. And this is why I say, if you're building your personal brand or you want to get into rooms where you can negotiate these type of fees, you have to be building your own value in the marketplace. Because the only reason I got this deal was because I'd already helped a company get to millions, like tens and tens of millions, multiple times. And if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have got in this room. And people don't see my content and see that I'm talking about it and I practice what I preach, then they don't believe that you can do it. And if you want to get into performance deals with clients, or you are looking at this and go, I would love you to work on a performance deal with you, I think there'll be a link to booking a call with us. We're always open. That we have a very strict requirement on who we will work with and making sure that those boundaries are now in place. But one thing I will tell you is, when we do partner with you at any level, we get in the trenches with you. We see your money as our money, and we will work our socks off to get you the result or the goal that you've committed to go and get. And that's how we work, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So that's a wrap. So that's it. I'll get better at doing these Miro boards, but I hope you found it useful. A lot of insight there. I could have went into more detail about ads and strategies and all of that stuff. But ultimately, to be honest with you, ICP, knowing your ICP, knowing your offer, creating brand building content and getting it out in front of as many people as possible, that is it. It's not anything crazy here that happened. I'm not going to go into different layers of ads and top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel. That's ultimately all we did. And we made them £8.2 million in 8 months. And ourselves, we made over 300K. I hope you found this useful. Let me know in the comments and I'll see you in the next video.